Well, I wanted to make a video today about what athletes should be focusing on with a sub 3:30 marathon training plan. Obviously, if you're running too many of your weekly miles too slow, it's going to be very, very difficult to be able to sustain 8-minute mile pace for 26.2 miles. One of the top recommendations that I continue to share with my followers on the website, on here on YouTube, and within the RunDreamAchieve University is training between a minute and 2 minutes faster than your goal marathon race pace. A sub 3:30 marathon training plan should encompass a very, very high emphasis on running at between 6-minute and 8-minute mile pace. You got to get to a point where 8 minutes per mile for 26.2 miles is no longer something that you need to feel threatened by. If you've spent adequate time running at 6-minute mile pace, even if it's for short amount of time, say during your intervals on the track, if you're doing like 12 to 16 times 400 meters on the track at 6 to 7 minute mile pace, I guarantee you over a 16-week block of training, 8-minute mile pace is going to feel very, very easy. And now it's definitely not going to feel easy at the 20-mile mark in the marathon. But what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to make those changes in the race itself, and to be able to react to your competition. You don't want to get you want to be able to click off 7:45, 8:10, 8:05, 7:50 miles. Remember, it's a sub 3:30 marathon is an average of 8 minutes per mile for 26.2 miles. So obviously, as I continue to teach, implement varying up the paces of your long runs. Don't just get caught up in putting in those long, slow long runs, which are still very, very critical for sub 3:30 marathon success, in terms of building your endurance, burning fat, making your heart stronger where it doesn't have to, it's able to over time clear lactic acid faster than it's building up. Those long, easy runs are very, very important. But when it comes to racing a marathon, and not just running the marathon, racing a marathon, 26.2 miles, and being able to sustain 8-minute mile pace, you've got to get to a point where you're doing your long runs at more an aggressive type pace. Not every single weekend. I always teach alternate one hard long run followed by the following week by an easy recovery long run. That way you're pushing the body on a higher anaerobic level, you're training at a higher heart rate for a longer period of time, but you're also backing off when you should, so you can get those physiological adaptations that occur from pushing the body, stressing the body's anaerobic system. And that's really the key. You don't want to get to a point where you're just running long, slow, monotonous miles. Again, it's very, very critical that you're not just looking at running high miles. Higher mileage is never, it's most often not the case is in terms of trying to break a specific marathon time. It's what percentage of your weekly volume are you spending, training at your race pace or far below it. And I'm talking like far, far below it. Like when I was training for trying to break a 2 hour and 22-minute marathon, I was a 2:43 marathoner who at that time could hold 6:14 pace for 26.2 miles. But I was training on the track a lot of times at sub 4-minute mile pace. So a lot of the reason why I was able to eventually hold 5:19 mile pace for 26.2 miles was because of those types of workouts. I was doing, repeat 200s in like 28 to 29 seconds. I was doing very, very fast repeat quarters on the track, not quite at sub 4-minute mile pace, but it was usually like 62 to 65 second pace. But a lot of times, like I said, I was doing, repeat hundreds, repeat 150s, repeat 200s, repeat 300s at sub 4-minute mile pace. So the same regarding, the same types of workouts you need to be thinking about when you're trying to break, a sub 3:30 marathon time. And I've created a new course that I'm working on currently, and I'll leave the link to that course in the description of this video, and it's going to be called the Sub 3:30 Marathon Blueprint. And it's going to be kind of a mini course. It's going to be mainly focused on video tutorials, and it's going to conclude with a 16-week training schedule that's specifically built for the athlete trying to break sub 3 hours and 30 minutes. So if you're trying to get the 3:29:59 or faster, this is the course you want to be focused on. You really want to narrow your focus and figure out what is it that I need to do to be able to sustain 8-minute mile pace. And my goal with you in this new course is to teach you through extended videos is the exact steps that you need to be taking and you need to be focusing on, the things you need to avoid doing and the things you definitely need to be doing to run a 3:29:59 marathon or faster. And trying to get away from making the mistakes of other athletes, learn from their mistakes. And I do share a lot of my failures as well on the RunDreamAchieve YouTube channel and on the blog. I didn't, just like I said, a 2:19 marathon did not just fall on my lap. I had a lot of ups and downs, some failures along the way, and I'm going to be teaching you about some of the things to avoid doing that I did over the years, and some of the things you definitely do want to focus on that helped me break the 2 hour and 20-minute marathon barrier. So, anybody that's searching for a sub 3:30 marathon training plan has to be seeking out race pace training. Don't look for just some kind of cookie cutter sub 3:30 marathon training plan. Don't look for that, because it's you want some personal interaction. I've always, some of the biggest changes in my performances, athletic performances, and mental training took place from being mentored by some of the world's top distance running coaches and training with some of the world's best long distance runners. I saw what they were teaching. I saw what they were doing. I looked at their habits, how they were training, what they were doing, the words they were using, their mindset. And, those are the things that will definitely take your athletic performance to the next level. But it's that personal development piece that a cookie cutter sub 3:30 marathon training plan that you can find anywhere online is not going to teach you. Okay, I want to be able to obviously provide value to the athlete that's committed and is not just interested in breaking a 3:30 marathon. Obviously, there's an enormous difference between being interested in doing something and being fully committed to doing it. And I see that in athletics. I see it in business. I see it in the military. You can't just talk about wanting to break 3:30. You got to be willing to apply the things that you see other athletes that are doing it, and take those strategies and run with them, and make sure that you're fully committed to doing it. And obviously, if you're on this channel, it already tells me you're highly disciplined, highly focused, highly driven to break that time barrier. So I'm excited about this particular course. 3:30 marathon is, in my opinion, an elite time. Anything really under 3 hours and 30 minutes, in my opinion, is an elite marathon time. Now, all athletes are going to have different viewpoints of that. If you're looking at the top echelon of athletes, the sub 220, the sub 210 athletes, the sub 205 athletes, that's at such a high level, especially the faster you go down the line in terms of marathon running. But to hold 8-minute mile pace over a 26-mile period, you've got to be extremely fit, and you've got to be mentally prepared and mentally strong to be able to sustain that pace. So I'm excited about the course. Very, very excited about working with athletes online. I have a lot of things I'm working on with RunDreamAchieve.com, and I look forward to seeing you in the course if it's something that you're interested in. And I hope this video has been helpful for you in terms of trying to figure out the mindset and some of the training principles and strategies that need to be followed to break a sub 3:30 marathon. And a sub 3:30 marathon training plan absolutely needs to focus on training far below 8-minute mile pace. It's the only way. There's no easy way to make to be able to sustain marathon race pace, to make it feel easier, unless you're training at speeds that far exceed 8-minute mile pace. So, that's one of the biggest strategies, or the biggest things I had to adjust in my own training to get from 243 to get to 219. I had to obviously accept the fact that I was not going to break 2 hours and 22 minutes. I was not going to go from 6:14 marathon pace to 5:25 marathon pace, which is 2:22. by doing long, slow, easy long runs, and not getting on the track and doing, repeat miles under 5 minute mile pace. So the principles I'll be teaching in the sub 330 marathon training blueprint is going to encompass the same types of strategies, techniques, and the mindset that I use to get under 2 hours and 20 minutes. So I'm excited about it. I hope this video has been helpful for you. If you haven't yet, definitely subscribe to the channel. Click subscribe. Click the bell icon so anytime a new video is made, you'll be the first to know about it. So with that, I'll leave it here. Hope to see you inside the course. If not, I hope you have a great afternoon, great evening, great morning, wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you on the next video.